Hello, my name is Frank Leeper, and I'm making this video. It's really for the Attorney General's office because I filed a complaint. I think I could explain it better because I had been sending emails, some pretty long emails. I hope your office got them. One was about the medications and all that they had prescribed for her when she was towards the end there in May, and the other email was about the documentation that I received from the Pennsylvania Department of Health. After she passed away, I filed complaints. So in the last documentation, I go through it and I explain it all, and I found out things about it. But I decided I want to go now, and this will be, hopefully I can make this video thorough enough. I'm going to try to take you through everything, kind of the way it happened there. And it's a lot about the calls. They call me for a lot of things, but towards the end they didn't call me. I know I'm supposed to be called, so something, I know what went wrong, because the documentation reveals what they did, and it looks like that my wife's condition was life-threatening, the things they were doing. Okay, so I'm going to try to start it up. I'm going to try to make it as short as I can, but I know I won't be able to, because when I do the emails, this would take, if this took me, whatever this takes, it would take twice as long on an email for me to try to explain the same thing. Because in my words, I know I could say it better than even typing it. Because at the end of this video, I'm going to give proof that I was there on June 1st, 2019. I got proof of it. So, because they might come up with this when this complaint goes in and all, say this, they're going to probably try to dispute that I was there, even though I signed in and all. Who knows if they even keep those sheets, the sign-in sheets? Who knows? I got proof. Not only the proof of that I was there, but proof of showing how they make mistakes and all. You'll see the proof, and I'm going to show it on the screen here and all. I want to get through all this first. I saved that for the end. Okay, I'm going to try to do this. I sent Marie to the hospital at the end of December 2018 because she couldn't get around in here good. She just wasn't right. She was shaky, and also I sent her there, and this was it. So by, I guess, about a week later, they contacted me and said she's going to need long-term care. You won't be able to take care of her at home in the condition she's in. She's got Alzheimer's, dementia, anemia, immune deficiency, low blood pressure, all the things, and respiratory distress. So I said, okay, we have to find a place. Do you have any place in mind? I said no. And then I gave the zip code when they told me places, and one was on Schoolhouse Lane, and I know Schoolhouse Lane is near where we live here, so I picked that one. And then they sent her there, and within a day or so, they told me she's going to go in there in the afternoon, and you'll probably be able to see her the next day. So I said, okay. So would you believe what happened the first day? They called me. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I have it all written down, so I'm just going to say approximately now. And the woman tells me, you sent your wife back to the hospital. I said, for what? She said, for respiratory distress. She was really having trouble breathing and congestion, and also, I said, okay, I'm glad you told me, because I would have went there and she wouldn't be there. So I called the hospital, and I went there the next day to the hospital. This is in January, beginning of January. And they told me that it just flared up, because she hadn't had a chance to get the medicine and all there, at the nursing home. So as I said, we're going to be sending her back in a couple of days. I said, make sure, because that going back and forth like that. Okay, so in a couple of days, she was back in the nursing home. They called me and told me I could come and see her now. She's all, settled in. They told me the room number and all. So I went there. So the first thing I see when I go there, I'm walking down the street, and I turn in. There's a parking lot there, and I can see the entrance. So I walk, and I see all these signs. They kind of go in the ground. The ones that have this like a banner, and then they go into the ground, two things, two spokes, and it says help wanted. First thing I thought about, I said, uh-oh, they got to be understaffed. I hope Marie's going to get good care there. I know when they're shorthanded like that, what can happen? So I went in, and the door opened. The guy controls it, He says, hello, how can I help you? I said, I came to see Marie Holland in room 219. I said, I'm Michael. I said, I'm Frank. I said, nice to meet you. He said, anything when you come here, you can ask me about anything you need to know, and I'll be glad to help you. I said, that's nice. There's the elevator. Sign in. Here's the elevator. Get off at the second floor. You go straight, and you make a left down the corridor, and then she'll be about halfway down the hallway. I said, oh, okay, thanks. So I went in there, and there she is. She was in, when you go in, because bed A is on my left, and I said hello to the lady. Nice to meet you. And then I went to Marie right away. She said, oh, Frankie, what am I doing in here? I said, you're here to get strong and well, and I had to write it down. I wrote everything down in a copybook, with a marker. She could read it and see. She could talk, but she just can't hear. So I said, oh, okay. I explained everything to her. They're going to give you skilled nursing care here. Whatever you need, tell them. You're going to get good food and stuff here and everything. And I'll be coming to see you as much as I can. So I'm writing all this stuff down. So, and I left and all, and that wasn't too bad. She's finally in there. In the first week I noticed they were taking her out of bed. They were using a machine to lift her out of the bed to the wheelchair and from the wheelchair back to the bed. I don't know why they were doing it. Maybe it was too weak. They didn't want to risk trying to either two people to lift her, danger of something happening. So they had this machine. It's called a Hoyer because I asked the guy downstairs and he told me, no, that's a Hoyer. They use that to help people. They don't want to risk, that they might fall. So I said, okay, until that was only for about the first few days. Then they start taking her and putting her back in the bed. Okay, so this is like the first week or so of January of 2019. About a week later, what do you think? Another call. It's around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And the nurse says, Frank, they just right away, they just know to do it, I guess. Some do, not all of them. So the lady called and said we found Marie is unresponsive, so we right away called 911. She's back in the hospital, so we don't want you to come here, and she's not here. I said, I appreciate all that. I was more worried for that unresponsive because I know it has something to do with the breathing, because she has respiratory distress. So I went to the hospital the next day instead of going there. I talked to the doctors and all. Said, yeah, she had a flare-up, and they didn't know what to do there, so they sent her back. And they hadn't started, they had the oxygen and all there, so okay. We'll be sending her back in a couple of days. Check before you go to the nursing home. Make sure. So I did. So I went back, and she's the same room and all. And then I see how she's doing. She said, I feel all right now. I still don't feel that great, But she said that, this moving her back and forth a lot, that's like, that alone is, that doesn't help. It's excitement for her and all. So this was like in the middle of January. Now they were doing the therapy down there. The therapy is like when you first come in, they have the room there. So I used to know when they were doing it right after breakfast, maybe around 10:30, and I would come at that time. And she would be there. I would see her in there. Not too many people. And I was telling them in the therapy that she could get around with the cane. When she was at home, and not too long ago before she went in there. They said, I'm glad you told us. So they start working with the cane, because I said, she knows how to handle the cane. Because they noticed that she grabbed the cane, tried to pull herself up, but they had people there, for her, making sure that, an exercise she was doing. And she stood up, and with the cane, she's starting to get a little, this went on for about a month. From January into February. All of a sudden it stopped. I questioned the therapy because I asked what happened, and they said because her coverage doesn't cover it anymore. It only went like into February. I figured out the timing, and it would be about that, whatever how many days that they cover for that, until it kicks in, the rest of the coverage. Okay, so now we're in about the middle of February, and everything seems all right. She's eating. Doesn't seem to be coughing as bad or congested as bad. Still can't get around. And she's in the bed a lot, because they're not moving her not much at all. They take her out of the bed maybe because they want to change the bed, and for to eat lunch or something and bring her back. And she's mostly in the bed or the wheelchair all the time. So I noticed that, and I was happy her to get the therapy. Okay, so now we're getting to March, and here I get another call. See how they're calling me for anything? That's why I'm upset about them not calling me at the end. This is why I put that complaint in. Okay, so they call me, and then the lady tells me, Frank. I said, yeah. She said, Marie, we found these red bumps on her buttocks, and all over her backside there. So we're going to find out what it is. We're not sure. I'm going to call the physician, and I'll let you know. I said, okay. And I know it's going to be home, so I don't want to miss the calls. I'm thinking to myself, what is it? Is that bed sores? They're not going to say that. No matter what, they're not going to say that. Because that nursing homes have a bad rap for that, I know she's not getting out of the bed much. From February to March when she called me, no more therapy, nothing. Now that happens? Like that? Okay, she calls me back. He said, Frank, it's shingles, and we're going to the medication for that, and we'll be, treating her for that. She's going to be in a separate room. For that, we have to have her in a separate room until it clears up. We don't want you coming here, but you can come here, because it's, we know you want to come here, and you're allowed to go in there. So I said, okay, good. I was glad to hear that. So I went to see Marie the next day. And she's in the room, and she said to me right away, oh, Frankie. I said, what is it? What am I doing in here? I said, you're in here because it's for your own good. Better for you. But she said, I don't like being alone. I liked it better in my room. I said, you're going to go back. This is just so you can get treated till you feel a little bit better. I said, do you have any bumps on your backside? And she said, no, I don't, nothing. She doesn't know. They're changing her and all. See, when they change the diaper, they notice it, I guess. Well, I still say, I was suspicious of bed sores, because I know they leave her laying there and they don't change her. She's not getting moved around a lot. She's in the bed all the time or in the wheelchair. So I didn't like it. So, I went a couple of times, and then she was in there for about a week. So I went there another day, and I'm in the room with her. Now, this is in the isolation room. I'm only going to bring this up because it's something to do with employment there. So I'm in there, and this guy comes in. He's got how they wear those, that's not a uniform, but he has it, you could tell he works there. So Marie asked me, who is this guy? He's going through my clothes. I said, he works here. I wrote it down. He's going to be taking care of you today. Oh, okay. So he came to me and he said, sir, you have to wait outside, I said, sure, I know that. I usually have to wait outside. Right there, I can sit down out there in the common area. It's about a half an hour, I guess. And then he comes out and called me to come there. And I said, oh, okay. He's all set. He's cleaned up and all in good shape. And I talked to her, and we had a nice conversation. I said, I know she can't hear, but he said she did most of the talking. I said, you're new here, aren't you? I come here quite a bit. Oh yeah, it's my first day. I said, well, so do you like it? He said, no, I don't like it. I came here for, maintenance. I don't know what jobs they have. They say they need people. They told me, you can do this job, and we get maintenance. We'll give it to you. I said, do you need a job there? He said, yeah. So if I was you, I would keep this. Get something else, that's all. Keep looking, and at least you have a job, you know. He said, but I don't like this because I'm too sensitive, and I hate to see people like, you know, can't get around and suffer. Older people, I'm too sensitive for that. I said, okay, well, I mean, I had a lot of experience, and I know a job is worth a lot when you need it. At least you're in here. And he said, yeah, don't, you know, they just threw me in here. They just told me all you got to do is give me a certain amount of rooms and said, if you need any help, ask anybody. And they just threw me in to learn. I guess they just told me, you change the clothes, you take out the clothes, you know, the dirty clothes, and clean the person up and dress them and all. And that's what he did. I mean, he did what he was told. So I went in. Marie's in the wheelchair, right? And she says, oh, Frankie. I said, what is it? She said, this guy is so good. Oh, my. He's the best I ever had since I've been here. Remember, this is in March. He's been there already over 3 months. All January, February, yeah, about almost 2.5 months. And she said, oh, he was so good, so nice to me. He showed me the clothes I have in the closet, what I want to wear. I told him, he put it to the side. He was so gentle. He got me out of bed, put me in the wheelchair, changed my clothes and my diaper, everything, and fixed the bed and all. Oh, so nice. He's the best. Is he going to be the person, you know, coming to me all the time? I said, no. I shook my head. And she said, oh, man. I said, yeah, but, you know, they changed him around. I wrote it down in the book. Look at that. A guy that they just hired off the street, you know, he was good, but he didn't want to do that job. Because if Marie told me he was good, because she complained a lot there about these people. You know, working the way they handle her and all, rough, pick her up and throw her in the bed and all. They said, this guy was good. See, I'm just giving you an example of that, you know, and I know when it was, because it was when she was in that room for the shingles. So that could be checked out. She checked employment in March and see if there was a guy there that worked one day. You'll know that my story checks out, but I don't think that's not part of this complaint, really. It is and it isn't. Because of this understaffing and all. Okay, so we're in the middle of March now, 2019. So after that, now I get a call. I go home from there. Remember, she's in the isolation room, right? I get a call a couple of days later, and the woman tells me, Frank, Marie's over the shingles. I said, already? Oh, yeah. She's completely over it. She's back in her room. I said, okay. Well, now I know to go to her room. So I hung up and I said, something's wrong with this. You know, because shingles, I don't know, a person get over shingles that quick. I guess it's possible since they got it right away, you know. But I started thinking bed sores. I know you could get over bed sores within a week or so because it's something that it's external, you know. But shingles is more internal, you know, because it's caused by a virus inside of you. But the bed sores is caused by irritation, but they look similar when you look at it, I guess. I'm not know much about it. I know people who had shingles, and boy, they have a lot of trouble getting over that. It takes a while. Once it gets set in, you know, it's like really tough to get rid of. And I looked at the bright side and said, well, that's good that if it was shingles, she got over it in a week. That means she's doing good then. Her immune system must be getting a little bit better with the care and the medication. So I said, I don't really care much about it, you know, other than I was glad that she was, you know, doing better. So, okay, so that was all right after that. Now we're into, like I said, March, the end of March. She's doing pretty good. I'm talking to everybody there. They're nice to people. You know, and, you know, I was really friendly with all. I knew their names and all. The people, the ones that work at the desk and the ones that are taking care of her, you know. I'm going to use the word they used. The ones that were handling her, you know. So, okay, we're in March, now getting into April, and still no therapy, but she's eating, seems to be eating all right. The coughing is a little bit less. Not much congestion at all. The only thing is, like I said, the therapy. She wasn't able to get around, you know, too good. So, yeah, we're getting through April. I said, wow, this looks really good. I already had everything set up at home. You know, I had the agencies come in and all. I have it set up that she comes home, they'll give me everything I need, but they need 2-week notice. So I was looking good. I'm saying, wow, we're getting into April. And then we got to like exactly at the end of April of 2019. She was the best I've seen her. Was barely coughing at all and not much congestion and eating okay. So I was saying it's a good chance. But, I keep my fingers crossed. Nobody's saying nothing about sending her home then. Social worker didn't mention nothing about it. So I get into May. So in the first week of May, I noticed she's starting to cough a little bit more and a congestion, and I noticed all new people. I said, I don't know none of these people. All the people that I knew, their names and all that was, from January all the way to the end of April weren't there anymore. I'm saying to myself, oh no. I didn't like it at all. I just knew there's something wrong with it. You can check it out. If you're going to look at their staffing records or their employment records, you're going to see. Check the people that worked in April or before. See if they're there in May. They're not. They weren't there. Some, maybe one few days, I don't know, but you'll see different people, a lot of different people. And you know what that means is, they don't know Marie's condition. Because I asked them, I said, she's coughing. I asked one of the girls, and she said, yeah, what is it? I never saw her before. I told her, I'm Frank, and Maria's in 219B. Okay, what is it? I said, you're coughing an awful lot. I said, yeah, we know that. We keep track of it. We chart it. And she's got medication for that. And it's for that coughing and all, the different medication. And she gave me an answer that was all right. But see, she didn't know that her condition was better than that. See, the people who knew her would have noticed that. They were still there. These people think that that's her condition. They first meet her and she's coughing and they give her that medicine. They think that's it, but it wasn't. She was getting worse. But they didn't know that. The staff, as you say staff. So the first couple of weeks, I'm observing all this. And I see that it's getting worse little by little. I mean, it's because I'm seeing her enough to notice it. So then, here we go back to the calls again. I mentioned the date on this call. It was May 21st, 2019. And it was about 6 o'clock in the morning. And I get a call, and this woman says, to let you know, Frank, that your wife had an accident. I said, well, she fell out of the bed. I said, what? How's she falling out of the bed? I thought maybe they were getting her out, early or something to take her, to do, maybe they're going to bring the breakfast early. I don't know. When she told me how she could have fell out of the bed. She said, but the staff has examined her and checked her for any overt injuries or anything. And they got her back in the bed, and she seems quiet and resting nicely and all. And they're going to be watching her and all. I said, what about calling 911? She said they don't do that. That was their decision to do that. They're going to do it first to see. They contacted the physician, and they told them what happened, and no physician came. They called them by phone. So, okay. I didn't like this at all. When I heard that, I'm saying to myself, how can she fall out of the bed? Okay, so before that, the social worker had called me about sending Marie home. And but maybe he's basing it on April. If he'd have told me in April, at the end of April, I might have said, yeah, because she was doing better, but not then. This is the 3rd week of May. He called me before the fall. And he went to see me on the 23rd, so I said, I say no, because she's still I can't take care of her, like coughing like that, and all. I want to make sure that she, plus I need at least a 2-week notice before I can, he wants to send her right away. So this is all the stuff that when it happened, I wasn't like I am now about it. I know why he wanted to send her home. But it was before the fall. But I know the reason now. I figured it out. Because her coverage didn't kick in yet. And I talked to the guy downstairs, and they don't have many beds. And she's a Medicare bed, or Medicaid bed. Maybe that's why she wasn't getting the attention like she would get. A charity case, as you might call it. So I figured that now. Why want to send her home? So, but after the fall, he knew about the fall when I went for the meeting. So of course, didn't mention too much about the fall. So went for the meeting on the 23rd of May, 2019, in Marie's room. It was like 2:30, but I went earlier, had lunch with Marie and all, and discussed everything, and they showed up exactly 2:30. It was the nurse supervisor, the social worker, and the therapy lady. I said, wow. Marie saw these people. I had mentioned to Marie at lunch that they were going to come there to discuss your case. She didn't believe me. She said, no, they nobody's going to come. I said, well, you'll see. And they did. And she's in her bed, all locked in. And she's looking and watching everything. She can't hear. I tried not to make it too exciting. She saw me doing all the talking. So first I talked to the social worker. And I told him, look, what send her home for? He said, we do that as a courtesy to everybody. Every once in a while we go over all the cases, and, there's a possibility that, you might want her home with you and try it and see what happens. I said, no, I can't handle her, Yeah, I mean, she only been here that long. If she'd had some therapy, I was trying to worry for the therapy, then come home because she could get around better. And he said, that's the way we do it, but you can always, if you, want to, let me know. I said, okay. And then I talked to this nurse supervisor. I didn't like her at all. She's got a very, I don't say nasty, but a way that as if to say that what she does, you can't dispute it. I can't dispute it. So I told her another incident happened there with Marie. But her legs were swollen. Right before this, her legs were swollen, and I noticed when she was in the wheelchair, both legs were swollen. And I told them there at the desk, and they told me, they looked and said, oh, probably because whoever put her to bed didn't raise her legs. Another thing with all these people working there that don't, to handle her that don't know. And then once they raised the bed, and then the wheelchair's supposed to have those extensions so she can keep her legs up. I noticed that wasn't there either. Then they did that, and the swelling went away. I went there a couple of days, it was all gone. I said, well, that definitely was the problem, So I told this back to the room again, this nurse supervisor, about that. She said, I know all about it. They got to keep her legs raised because she has a salt level was low, and they're giving her salt, every day. And I asked about it. She said her salt level is pretty much normal now. She's still going to continue to give her the salt? He said, yeah. But wouldn't too much salt, wouldn't that could cause a swelling? He said, yes, possible. That's why we want our legs raised up. So I said, okay, I start checking for that when I went there about that. If her legs was raised, that she didn't have swelling. Because I know I have edema myself. It's gone now. I had it for a while. And I know what it is. Both my ankles and legs were swollen. But with medication and keeping my legs raised and all, it's gone right now. Okay, so now I talked to the therapy lady, and she had a look on her face like she knows something, but she's not telling me, I said, do you think Marie can get some therapy? Because if the social worker wants to send her home, if I get the therapy, maybe I would consider it, because then she could get around with a cane, maybe there, and I could handle her better. She says, not right now. First of all, we're waiting for the Medicaid to kick in so that you would have coverage for that. I said, but she said, do you want? I said, yeah, I would like to have it now. She said, well, if you want it, you can if you can pay out of pocket, we'll do it. They didn't have no problem taking money for that. We would just pay as you go. In other words, whatever you want done, it's not that expensive. We'd work it out where you could pay, right? Have the therapy and say one day, and then another day you could pay it, and it could. So I said, I'll think about it. Then I said, out of pocket, huh? And that's what made me think of all the things now that she's in there. Now we're into May, and now they're trying to get rid of her because of the fall. Oh yeah, I forgot. I mentioned about the fall to that nurse supervisor. I don't want to forget that. After the salt and all, I said to her, Marie just had a fall. She said she's back in the bed all right, safe and sound. I said, yeah, but how do you account for that? She said that they follow the protocol that they're supposed to. When that happens, you got notified, right? I said, yeah, they're supposed to do that. And they fill out paperwork, and they're supposed to assess her. And when they assess her, that's what they come up with, that she didn't appear to be anything wrong, and they got her back in the bed and everything. And that's what they do, and they're going to keep monitoring her for the safety. I said, okay. If you don't like it, man, she was getting a little bit. They were looking at me, that therapy lady and that social worker was looking at me, because she said, if you don't like it, you can put a complaint in here, and if you want to do that, that's you're allowed to do that. I said, okay, I understand. I don't want to get too much further. They all left and all. I had my say, and then I could see Marie wanted to know, because she said, what happened? I noticed you were really discussing things. I said, yeah, I wrote it down. I said, it's about you going home. Oh, yeah, me. Oh, yeah, it's just a matter of time, Marie. I was telling her about going home. Now, remember, this is May 23rd, 2019, when she's in the bed and all that. This is 2 days after the fall. And so I discussed it all, and I, trying to encourage her, which is true. That if she can get around a little bit better, try to keep eating and take the medicine, because, this isn't sometimes like that medicine, because, the taste and all. So she said, yeah, I want to go home. I don't want to stay here. I told her, okay, see what happens. So I'm going to come back as soon as I can. It's getting late that day, so I was there a while. And so then I came back. That was a Thursday. So Saturday, I said, oh, I got to come Saturday. As the way that staff is, and the way it's so not too many people there. So I went Saturday, which was the 25th. And again, she was about the same. And I'm looking for anything that would, tell me, trigger, after that fall. I said, how they're treating you? She said, about the same. She said, I said, what about when you have to go to the bathroom and you're wet? I wrote all this down in the book. And she said, well, she can't even push that bell. I said, well, the lady was there, Doris, and she said, Frank, don't worry, I do it for her. I told her, I said, you tell her when you won't need any help, and she'll push it for you. They each have one, so she pushed it for Marie. So she would get there, and they would come and change it. I asked Doris, she said, yeah, especially on the weekend, she knew it. On the weekend, you hear the bells ringing, the call bell, and nobody's coming, because they have to turn it off. So that's the weekend. This understaffing and all that it's bad on the weekend. So, okay, so this is the 23rd. So that was a Saturday. So I said, I'm coming back on the 25th, because it was a holiday. And that's like a weekend. So I went there on the 25th. It was Memorial Day, 2019. And, she's about the same. I mean, I don't say she wasn't great. I've seen her better. She still was coughing. Had the congestion. You could hear it. So, okay, so it's the 25th. And also, I think I'm going to wait a few days to see how, so between the 27th, Memorial Day. So 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st was a Friday. So I don't get no calls from nobody. So I'm going to go back on Saturday, of course. So Saturday, June 1st, I went there. And nobody again. And I find her in a stupor. She's sleeping. She doesn't want to wake up. When I got there, it was like 11:30 in the morning. And I right away talked to Doris. And Doris said, Frank, she's been like that for 2 days and she doesn't want to eat. She just stays like that. They bring the food and take it back. I said, 2 days? Because I didn't know nothing about this documentation. I didn't know nothing about x-rays. I didn't know none of that. And nobody called me. So I thought maybe this just happened. So I go over there and I'm trying to see if I can get any response. But he's knocked out, she's still alive. So I called the on-call doctor. I just happen to have the number. There's different people all the time, This guy answers and he said, who are you? I said, I'm at the Maplewood nursing home. And who are you? I'm the husband of a resident. He said, well, you're not supposed to be calling me for that. They're supposed to call me. Have one of those girls there, check her out, life signs and all, and if there's anything, they can call me back. Not you. And he hung up. So that's another thing. So I got one of the girls. They don't know what they're doing. Finally, they were out there, a couple of them, and that was it. Come in the room, and she said, I want you to check her out. She said, she's sleeping. I said, yes, sleeping, but if I'm going to sleep, she can wake her up. I can't wake, she doesn't want to wake up. So she took the oxygen in the blood. She put that device on her finger. She said, see, it's normal. Yeah, but that's in my favor. That means she's still alive. Something could be done for her. Then leave her like that, but she's not in pain or nothing. How do you know? He says, she's quiet there and all. So, okay. Then the lunch comes. Remember, this is June 1st, 2019. This is lunchtime. And so it comes. I asked the woman, can you please help me? I'm going to try to get her up. And she, when someone's knocked out like that, it's hard to move them. They're heavy, So she cranked the bed up, and she helped me lift her up a little bit. She sat up, Marie, and she just barely could move. She looking around like that, and her eyes are closed. She can't see. I thought maybe because she was so knocked out. She can't open her eyes. She was still responding, a little bit. So I tried to get some food in her. It's all mashed and pureed and all that, just a little bit. And she went through the motions. I tried to make her, and then a little bit of water. She swallowed it, and that was it. And she just nodded back off again like that. So I got the girl to help me, take her down, and get her back in there where she was relaxing, and I kept trying to, massaging her to try to wake her up, maybe I thought if I could get her to, wake up. No, she just keeps sleeping like that. And then finally I tickled her feet, because I used to do that at home when I want to wake her up. And she said, stop that, Frankie. And she actually talked, and I said, well, I thought maybe now there's a chance, that maybe they could do something if they could work on her and try to get her. If she'd have went to the hospital, I'm pretty sure it would have been better for her, but they don't do it. They didn't do it. They done it before. So I left, and on my way out, I talked to this girl, was on the cart, punching stuff in the computer. Only one nurse or whatever she is, and I said, are you going to check on Marie there in 219B? She said, yeah, we check on all of them. We have their records, and we're always checking on them. So I said, she's not responding. She said, well, we know what to do. So I said, okay. So I went home. Didn't think nothing of it. I'm so upset I almost went in front of a car, because I have to walk about a mile, more than a mile. Some guy grabbed me, and because I was shooken up. So I told him where I had to go. He said, well, I'll get you across the street. You sure? You're all right? It was nice. This guy was nice. I don't know him. Somebody, just a caring person, And I said, I just got to go straight. There's not hardly any streets or nothing now. So I went. I got home and all, and I started getting ready for bed. And it was in the afternoon already. And look at the news or something. And then I had called her niece and told her. Her niece was really upset about it, because when I told her the condition, they said, leave her like that. She was going to go right away in the morning. So was I, But I'm going to call again. See how they call me? This was at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning altogether. I have it all written down. And then there's Danielle. She says, I hate to tell you, but I came on duty. I found your wife unresponsive, and I tried to revive her. And we called the 911, and they got there, but they couldn't do anything. So she passed away, and she, told me when and everything. And I said, well, she was like that when I was there 15 hours ago. She lingered that long, and then you called the 911. Why didn't they? She said, I don't know. I wasn't here. I don't know about it. She's looking at her chart, and there's nothing down here about her being like that, on the chart that she has there. She said all it has is she was scheduled for x-rays on June 4th, 2019. That's the only thing I knew about x-rays. Well, I didn't know. I had to take care of some arrangements with them, and her niece was upset. It was so bad when I knew, but I didn't know all the stuff that was going on there before that. So now I said I have proof that I was there. I want to mention that right now. The proof is, first of all, I signed in on June 1st at 11:30 a.m. And I talked to Doris. Her roommate told me about that she wasn't eating. Well, they're not going to count that, I guess. And then I called the on-call doctor so he could check my phone. I called from there, from my phone. And there's something else to prove I was there. Because this nursing home, me putting a complaint in, they're liable going to say that I probably wasn't even there. You know, when I start saying about her being unresponsive like that and all. Well, remember when they brought the lunch and all? I noticed there was 2 menus there. I said on the lunch, why 2 menus? So I put them to the side, and I didn't put them back on the tray. For some reason, I was looking at them. So I got the menus. Let's see. I'm going to show you something with this. This is the lunch menu. See it? See that? Marie A. Holland, 219B. And it says mesh soft. See it? For the diet. Fluid restriction. And then it's got there Friday lunch, right? June 1st, 2019. Now, Friday was not June 1st. Friday was May 31st, 2019. So this was in Friday's menu. That's how they have it. They just put the date. So this is what she would have gotten. This was on her tray. See it? This is what she would have gotten. See it? For Friday's menu. That's what Friday's was. But, so now I have this to prove. How would I have this if I wasn't there? Okay, now, to top it off, look at this. What's this say? Marie Holland again, Maplewood Manor up there, 219B, mesh soft, see it? Diet. And now it says Saturday lunch, June 1st, 2019. And that's what the lunch, this was the actual lunch that she had. See it? Turkey. All that, that's what she had. Coffee, pudding, and all that. See it? That was her lunch. That's what I tried to give her, some of that. See it? Now, was I there? How could I have these 2 menus if I wasn't there? But I'm just showing you. See the mistake? Okay, Saturday's June 1st. They had Friday, June 1st. See the mistakes they make? So there it is now. That's my proof. I could not have a menu from Maplewood Nursing and Rehabilitation Center if I wasn't there. See it? There it is. I have the 2 menus from there. I have other stuff like that too. But I wanted to show that. See it? So I have proof I was there that day, no matter what they want to say. In case that comes up, it might, because they use those kind of defenses. You know, so well, this guy's saying all this, he wasn't even there. How does he know? So I wanted to bring all that up. Now, I put a complaint in to the Pennsylvania Department of Health. I put it in about the fall. And some other things there. I put a lot of things about that place. So they honored my complaint, you know. They checked it out. I put it in June, right after this all happened. Everything I just said here about the way I found her and all, I told them. You know, about what happened with that fall and all. So they went there, you know, after the complaint. And this was put the complaint in June, or after this happened, towards the time I got myself together and all. And then in July, they went there, and about the first week or so of July, they went made an on-site, you know, of a visit to the Maplewood Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. And they went there and talked to people that worked there. They got the documentation and all, and they called me when they were there and told me that they checked it out and they're going to let me know the results. And I said, okay. So I got the documentation from them in, I guess, about a week. And I looked it over and I said, this isn't right. They're doing all that to Marie and I didn't know nothing about it. I was there on the 27th, on a Monday. And the time I saw her, I had lunch with her and everything that day. I didn't expect when I went there on June 1st that she was going to be in that condition. I expected her to be about the same, or maybe a little worse or a little bit better, but not like that. Because they didn't call me, so I figured it couldn't be too bad, you know. No, they're doing all what they said they did. And you know, the documentation, it's all the things that I'm finding out now. The documentation that Pennsylvania Department of Health sent me. I saw in there what they were doing to her, but I wasn't notified about it. So I went over. Now I realize now that they documented. They might have more documentation, maybe. Pennsylvania Department of Health could have the documentation from Marie for the whole month of May, but they only sent me the part where the fall was. Before and after that, they don't have too much. So the fall was on May 21st, 2019. And they reveal, so that means the Department of Health this is their interpretation of the documentation from the Maplewood Nursing Home and Rehabilitation Center. Okay, I understand that. Now I know that. Didn't really, because I'm too upset at the time. Now I studied it over, and okay, so now you got May 21st, it says about the fall, that they're going to monitor her for safety because of the fall. I'm saying to myself, I just redid this, and I sent it to the office. An email about it, about her being a fall risk, and now they're monitoring her for falls. They're updating her plan of care. I didn't get notified for that. They're supposed to let me know about that. I guess they didn't want to let me know because they figured this way I would probably be insisting that they send her to the hospital, but they didn't want to do that. They figured if they don't contact me, they can make the decision themselves, right? For whatever they want to do, I guess. So, okay, we're back to this again now. I'm going over this so much, but at least I come to what I think the way they have it set up. I don't know, because nobody told me. I have not examined their records or anything. I figured it out that most people that go to a nursing home are older, and they are fall risks. I see most of the people there in wheelchairs and all, walkers and all. Maybe a couple walk around, but mostly everybody's a fall risk. So her being a fall risk on her plan of care doesn't mean a thing, because they're not checking her for that necessarily. So because she has a fall, right? Now it kicks in, right? Now they're going to monitor her because she had a fall, and now that she's considered a fall risk. I think that's what it is. It's to cover them up. Only problem here is she's in a bed with bed rails on both sides, and she's safe and sound in the bed. That means she wasn't safe and sound in the bed. How can they call that a fall? She didn't cause the fall, but they're treating it because she was on the floor out of that bed, a fall. So that's what they did. They're using that as a cover-up. So now they go ahead and monitor her for safety to prevent any more falls. So that covers that up. That was negligence that she fell from the bed. Okay, so on the 21st she fell from the bed. It could have been the 20th. She could have laid there for who knows, hours on end. She wasn't found till 6 a.m. on the next day. So the 20th, whoever put her in the bed, the last person that dealt with her, probably before they turned the lights off, I think they changed her and all. Make sure she's not wet, change the diaper. So whoever did it, put the railing up. Maybe they just went out and forgot, and then come back and didn't put the railing up. Maybe they just put it up in a hurry and walked out and it didn't click in place. So Marie goes ahead there and grabs a hold of it. It goes down and she goes down. Now, that's a human error, but that's neglect on their part because somebody caused it. If they say the staff decided, but they don't decide who did it. Somebody had to do it. She just didn't fall out of bed. She's not a Houdini, and she can trip the latch on there and get out. You have the strength to do that. She could, with all the strength you want, because the way that's set up, the way they lock in place, you never could break that. It could bend, maybe, if you were strong enough. So they put her back in the same bed. And now fall risk. Now this documentation goes on. This is all stuff going on now. But from May 21st to May 29th, there's no documentation there. Then it goes to the 30th. And it's saying all the stuff they're doing there. X-rays. X-rays, and there's I guess you could say, they said a certified registered nurse practitioner. They made sure, I guess they wanted to have some kind of authority there, make that documentation make it more believable, right? Why didn't they just put RN? Because that nurse came there in the beginning of May, but Marie wasn't that bad then. Now at the end of May, maybe they called her because she's got billed for that. That she's not from the Maplewood Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. She's from an agency or something. Because I got a bill for her. Since all the time passed, she got paid for that from Marie's account. So she makes these decisions there. This certified registered nurse practitioner. She's the X-rays that they determined that they're going to try to treat her for whatever the X-rays revealed, and they're going to have X-rays again the 4th of June. There was something. Why are they doing all that? See, they went to the hospital. They'll do the X-rays, and they don't have to go through all that. That's not a hospital. Marie's entitled to have medical care. If they can't give it there, they're there for long-term care, for skilled nursing care, but not for that medical care like that they're treating her for all these things. They had to know her condition, because day one she went back to the hospital for the distress she had, respiratory distress. And that's what they're treating her there for, breathing problems and all. Now she's been on oxygen for 24/7, they're oxygen all the time. Now it says they're going to continue with the oxygen. What, did they stop it? It says continue her oxygen, prescribed oxygen. Okay, I didn't care for that either. I don't care the way that documentation was written, because the Pennsylvania Department of Health could have written that documentation from the nursing home. So more and more things there. They're going to, her physician ordered her to get breathing medication, for the staff to give her that to help in her breathing. They must know about that she's got respiratory distress. So they're going to do that, and they're going to update her plan of care, and then also to monitor her for safety to prevent any more falls. Now, how come I don't get called for none of this? Sounds like her condition's worse. Don't say nothing about not eating. If the condition she's in, this was on a Thursday, May 30th. Okay, so I guess they ordered the medication. See, I don't find out all this because I don't get the bills for every 3 months. So I found out for they changed the medication, albuterol. That's for breathing and all that they're going to give her. That's what they were given, but they couldn't have given it if they didn't have it. That was a Thursday. So they said that they were supposed to be doing that. So Friday, the medication comes, because I looked at her billing, and something else came with that albuterol. It was an ointment for eye infection. How come they didn't mention that when they were there on Thursday doing all that with her? How come they didn't mention she has an eye infection? Both eyes. And they ordered that ointment for it. Because remember when I was there, I got up in the bed and she couldn't open her eyes when I was there on June 1st? I didn't know nothing about that. But I know that it's so. That's what it was for. So they didn't mention that in the documentation, that they noticed her eyes was infected, that they ordered some ointment for it. No, that's not mentioned. So that's what made me say this documentation, that the Pennsylvania Department of Health went by whatever they said, but they didn't do it like I'm doing it now. See, I'm starting to find out all this stuff. I finally got the pieces of the puzzle together about the fall, about the medication and everything, and they didn't call me. Now, I mentioned it already, all the calls that they made to me. Not this time. Her condition, they sent her to emergency room for respiratory distress on the first day. She doesn't have respiratory distress there with all that they're doing. They're ordering albuterol to give her medicated treatments, inhaled medicated for her breathing. Why wouldn't they send her back to the emergency room then? Her condition was worse now than it was when she went there, and they sent her right back the first day. Who makes these decisions? Then they sent her for unresponsive. She's unresponsive when I saw her, getting worse, going in and out, and she can't wake up. Why didn't they send her then? Wait till she passes away, then they call the 911. They can't keep her there. They had to call. So you see all the things of what I'm upset over? that I'm making this video because I want to make sure that while this investigation is going on, that all these things are gone over. Now, nobody called me about that, all that stuff going on. They're not supposed to, or are they supposed to? The Code of Federal Regulations says it in the residents' rights, because I looked it up, that the representative or whoever's, spouse or whatever is supposed to be notified. If the resident can't, is not competent enough to tell them, I have to get all that. And the fact that they did call me already, why wouldn't they call me again? So they're going to have a hard time with that, because they can't change that documentation of what they did. And it doesn't say anything about that eye infection. That's something else. That's another thing. But all that, I think she should have been back to the hospital, because they don't want to notify me, because that's just like I'm saying now. I would have said the same thing. She's entitled to have the health care, plus she has coverage for that, to go back to the hospital and all. So I just want to make sure with this complaint that I filed that the information, is correct. I don't want to, that they're going to need to prove what I say. I know that they're very experienced in these matters, the Attorney General. I know that. They have expertise in this. They deal with it all the time. I don't deal with the nursing homes all the time. I'm trying to give you all the stuff that happened there to show you what's going on in there. But this thing with the falls, I just figured it out. Maybe I'm wrong. That, they put down fall risk on the plan of care. And I know she was, because she couldn't get around by herself. She is a fall risk. But most people are, older people. Anybody can be a fall risk, but, now they didn't have her. She was in the bed, but I think mostly everybody there has a bed with the rails that lock in place so you can't get out. The worst place to fall, the last place she should fall from, is the bed. But she fell from her bed. I mean, I've gone over this so much, but I just want to make sure that, this information's out there. Maybe the Attorney General's office, like I said, they can kind of look into it and see that they acted like they were supposed to. I'm going to use the word accordingly, because of that falling. We know that's. I think, like I said, they put fall risk. I thought when fall risk that shouldn't have happened, but not the way they did it, because the Pennsylvania Department of Health agreed with them that it wasn't their fault because of her unfortunate demise of Marie, because they monitored her for safety to prevent falls. You mean that absolves them of wrongdoing because they did that? They act like it was Marie's fault that she fell. She's in bed safe and sound and falls out of the bed because the rail was, like I said, whoever changed her wherever the night before neglected to check that railing, that it was locked in place. Might didn't even put it up at all. I'm going to give the benefit that put it up, it just didn't click in place. Once it clicks in place, you have to release it. It doesn't come down. I know, I checked that plenty of times. Then Marie leaned against it, and out she goes, flying out of the bed. And now, with all the stuff they were doing, that happened on the 21st, because I had mentioned to the health department that they told me I'm going to have x-rays on the 4th. And then they're saying that the x-rays that they took on the 30th there was for that. It wasn't for that. It was for respiratory distress. It was a chest x-ray. I was talking about that when I heard the 4th, I thought that might have been for the fall, but that's too far away. The fall was the 21st. Why didn't they take x-rays then? They said they checked for there was no overt injuries. Would they have x-ray vision or something? That they know there's nothing wrong inside of her? No. Why didn't they call the x-rays then? Why? Can they answer the questions? I don't know. I mean, I know the Attorney General has to get all this information. They have to make sure. That's why I want to make sure that they have what I'm saying here, that it's being done. I don't want them to waste their time and go in the wrong direction with this. The main thing I want to know is about the staffing, like on the weekends and all, because that's when this happened again, on the weekend. Saturday when I went there, the weekend. leaving there late like that, nobody's checking on her and nothing. And come 3 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning after that, right? On the weekend, the night nurse comes on and finds her like that. She was that way all along, off and on. She didn't get better laying there like that. These are all the things I'm bringing up that I want checked out. I know they know what to do. I know your office knows what to do with this, because this is something that's going to happen, and if nobody says anything, they get away with it. I just want them held responsible. And that's the main thing, so maybe they could learn from it, you know? Someone's a fall risk, and you got them in a bed with bed rails and locked in place. They should have some kind of protocol that all the nurses there, all the staff, make sure to check that all the time when they're in the bed. That bed rail is locked in place at all times. That way, if they would have had something like that, that probably wouldn't have happened. So, see how that, you mean the type of shit, because say she's a fall risk. Okay, say she wouldn't have fell out of the bed. Say she fell out the wheelchair. I found her in the wheelchair plenty of times, sitting there in the common area when I got off the elevator, dozing off and all. And there's no straps or nothing on her or nothing. She could have fell right from the wheelchair on the floor. Nobody's there. They didn't even have the wheelchair locked in place. I guess that they're busy, short-handed, and they're overworked, and this is what happens. They're the things. I noticed the medication that she was taking was to make her eat. And it was. She was eating. Now, she's supposed to get that medication several times a day. Did she get it? Maybe she didn't, and that's why she wasn't eating. And if she got an overdose of that medicine, that's a symptom of that the condition I found her, like in a stupor state like that, wanting to sleep and all that, that's the symptom of an overdose of that medicine. So I mentioned that too, that I know that they know what to check out there. Because they cannot refuse, the Maplewood Nursing and Rehabilitation Center cannot refuse Attorney General to give that documentation. They have to surrender that. They can't change anything on the documentation from the health department. They can't. And all my documentation either. But this, I'm doing this now because I think I can explain it better. You know, the whole situation there from the beginning to the end there, you know. And I definitely have proof I was there. Because I know it's going to come up if it gets involved, you know, if they're finding things wrong there. And you know, since I'm the one putting the complaint in, they're going to say, was he there? I wasn't there when they were doing all that, the treatments on her and all. No, of course not. I would have been if they would have called me. I would have got her niece and all. We would have went there. Because when they're doing all that, what they did on her, they weren't there that long in her room. They might have put the curtain around. But the woman didn't tell me, Doris, her roommate, didn't tell me nothing about x-rays or nothing. I don't know because I didn't know either. I didn't ask her because I didn't know. So they probably weren't in there that long. You know what they were doing? They examined her. They took the x-rays. And then they updated also all the stuff they said there. And they ordered they didn't say they ordered anything. They said they were doing treatments, medicated treatments for her to be inhaled. And I found out, you know, months later from her billing, you know, from the pharmacy, that I looked at the date, and they said May 31st that they delivered that, the albuterol and the ointment for the eyes. So they couldn't have done much with it. I went there, that was a Friday when they got it. I'm there Saturday at lunchtime. How much of that could they have done with nobody around, leaving her lay like that? They're going to give her medicated treatments in that condition? Inhale that albuterol and all that? And give her those treatments like that? First, you better get her revived enough to give it to her. And not only that, how can she can't even see? They open her eyes. See, I thought it was because she was sleeping so sound that she can't open her eyes because, no. Her eyes were dry looking. I remember. She's looking around like this and she can't see nothing. You know, can't open her eyes. And they ordered ointment for that. Somebody did. But that's, like I said, all this stuff, I'm not being notified about none of it. And I think I was supposed to be. So I don't know. Our rights were compromised, both because Marie's the victim of that, and I'm her representative. And I was the one that can make decisions and all. They notified me for everything, I told you. Even the social worker notified me he wanted to send her home. I'm getting called for everything there, but not for that, huh? That's what I'm really upset over, that when I found out about it, I didn't know about it until I got this documentation from the Pennsylvania Department of Health. So now I definitely want to make sure that the Attorney General's office knows that what I say can be all backed up and verified. What they say, I don't know. But I know their records and documentation, I do not trust it. I have a funny feeling something's going on there. I know about the understaffing, that's definite. Because they got the signs outside and all. And that tells you right there, they need people. But I want to know, do they have enough people? I know there's got to be a guideline for the people that they have working there. Is it enough? They have to have they're not fully staffed. They have to have enough people to handle the residents that are there. And they don't on the weekend. They definitely don't. I'm just saying, on the daytime, say they're supposed to have maybe one staff member for maybe 6 patients. I don't know, residents. Maybe at night they might need, it's about the same, 1 staff member for how many residents? They have I think it's like 60 residents on that floor. Something like that. So they should have at least, I don't know, 5, 6 people at least to cover all those people. 1 or 2 people, how are they going to cover all those residents for everything? They got to clean them and all. They got to clean, take care of their clothing and a whole bunch of stuff. And how can one person handle all those residents? They have 1 or 2 people on the weekend. How are they getting away with that? I mean, I would take 7 days and I'd say I have this many people. Say I have 11 people. To spread it out, I'd have 11 people every day instead of having 13 people on the weekdays and on the weekend less. I don't know whoever does that. Nobody's even trying to do that, to adjust. They can't say they are, because the weekdays look Monday to Friday, pretty much staffed. They may be shorthanded. But if it's on the weekend, well, how are they getting away with that many people? I know there's got to be, each facility has to have some kind of guideline where they, how many people they're supposed to have so they can run the place. If it gets below that, they won't be able to. So they have to keep it up, but I still don't know about that weekend. Can't they take people from the weekdays and put them on the weekend? Because it's 24/7. Aren't the residents supposed to have 24/7 care? They're not getting it. There's no way the residents can have the same care on the weekend that they do on the weekdays. So the residents suffer. Who knows? For the grace of God, there go I. I could be a resident, because I'm in my 70s now. And I have a lot of things, and I'm, able to get around and all. But say I end up in a nursing home. Well, you know where I want to go, right? Maplewood Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. Because I know about that place, and let them try to do it to me. Hopefully I don't have a mental condition. I hope it's just physical, so I can keep an eye on them. Because I know that the Department of Health went there, and they did do an on-site unannounced visit. Why don't they go on the weekend? I guess because they're too busy. I guess whatever day was open, that's the day they went. But if they went there on the weekend or at night, I wish they would have went at night. As I said, I was calling there a few times. I'd call down there, maybe 8:30, something like that. They're there 24 hours. Guy answers the phone. It's not the same guy I see in the daytime. So I said, well, can you connect me to the 2nd floor? I want to talk to the nurse. He says, fine, yeah. He said, I'll ring it. He connects me, and it keeps ringing, nobody answers. Okay, so I called back, and he said, what happened? Did you get through? I said, no. He said, somebody's up there. They're probably taking care of residents, checking everything. And you want me to put me through again? I said, yeah. But you don't have to go up there. He says, I can't leave because somebody's got to be down there. I said, I know that. So I kept ringing again, and finally, woman answers, and she's yawning and everything. I said, what's wrong? She said, oh, I'm so tired. I'm tired. I have been working doubles and all, and I said, well, you better watch yourself. You'll end up sick yourself. He says, well, what can I do for you? I said, could you check on Marie Holland 219B and let me know if she's eating and all. And well, I said, sure. She looked it up. She said, yeah, she had breakfast. She ate her meal. She had this amount. She had 50% breakfast and about the same at lunch. She had her lunch in the dining room. They have it all. She had it in the chart. And then dinner she had in bed and all, and she ate some of the food, and maybe 60-70%, whatever they have, however they count it, So I said, oh, that was good. So I said, thanks for everything, and she said, okay, and that was it. But look at that, sleeping up there. Probably sleeping in that room that they have, for the isolation. Probably in there sleeping. I'm ringing the phone, no answer. I mean, these are all the things that's going on, and they're short-handed. And see what it does? These people will work more, for the money. They get more overtime. It's time and a half money. It's not just a regular amount. They can make a lot of extra money, and plus they become loyal to the administrator there and all that. So that's the way it goes on in those places. I know that's not just there, but this understaffing and all, and the negligence, you see it, so much of it. I saw it because I was there for 5 months. And what I say is guaranteed the truth. I don't need to make nothing up. But I know that especially for a profit nursing home, like this nursing home, boy, they're for like I said, me and Marie believed in Almighty God. This nursing home believes in the almighty dollar. I mean, it's just not a regular business, It's dealing with people's lives, their quality of life, their dignity, respect, and they don't know. They don't care about that, because this stuff wouldn't happen, a lot of it. Now, I just hope that this Attorney General can take my complaint based on what I'm saying here, and based on all the other things, the documentation I have. It's like my documentation versus their documentation is what it's coming down to, Whoever documentation is the most accurate, I guess, and the most truthful. I know mine is, because the documentation that I gave to the Pennsylvania Department of Health is after that happened, what I'm saying now, about when I found her like that in her room and all. I sent that documentation before I knew what happened there. So if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't know nothing about it. I think, well, she went right away, and I wouldn't know she was like that. They should have documentation. They're not going to have documentation that Marie was there for hours, 2 days, not eating, in an unresponsive state. You think they documented that? I doubt it. Well, they wouldn't. In other words, the way I look at it, I think like they do, that nursing home. In other words, if they don't document it, it didn't happen, right? Okay. So they didn't document they called me, so I guess it didn't happen, right? Because if they have any records, that's the main thing I'm concerned with. Take the phone records. I have the same phone. I still have it, and they have the same phone. I checked. So if they try to say, oh, we called him about all that changes and all that, they didn't call me nothing at all. If they did, it's going to be wrong. Because it's not going to be on my phone record. I have a phone log of every call. So I know that it's not going to be. So if they try to say they called me, it's wrong. And it can be proven. So that's where it is now. Like I said, whatever happens here, I thank the Attorney General's office for taking my case. And I hope I furnished enough information. I know you're going to contact me it's supposed to be in a couple of weeks. So, whatever it takes. There's no rush now. I want to make sure that if they did do anything wrong, I want to know. And if it proves that they didn't, they acted accordingly, well, I'll have to accept that. But at least I'll have closure on this whole thing, and that's it. I can't, I've been this last, I guess, couple of weeks I've been going over this again. It's taken a lot out of me, I'm reliving it all over again. I'll never forget what happened. But, I need to have, for Marie's sake, I will feel better that I know that I did everything I possibly could to find out what happened. And we'll see what the Attorney General has there. I don't want to drag this out any further. But one more thing I want to mention again. Because I know what they're going to come up with if this ever gets farther, you know, it really gets involved, you know. I know what they're going to say, you know. Again, I'm going to show them the proof I have, you know. I was there, so if it comes up, they try to say he was not there on June 1st. Because I don't know if they keep those sign-in sheets or not, but in case, I want to end this with this again. Okay. Here it is. Look at it. Look at that. Marie Holland, 219B. Mesh diet. See it? Friday, June 1st, 2019. Now, Friday is not June 1st, 2019. This is the menu for Friday. They have it for, that's what they would do on Friday. Regardless of the date, they have a Friday menu, a Saturday menu. Okay, so I have this. Okay, so I couldn't have this. Then they left it on the tray. They left it on the tray Saturday. It was on Saturday's tray, so I guess when they printed that out, realized, uh-oh, we can't use that menu. It's the 31st is a Friday. They had it for the 1st. So I have that menu and this one. And this proves I was there. I cannot have a menu from the Maplewood Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. It says Marie Holland 219B. I was there. And it has everything on there. See it? June 1st, 2019. That's the menu. That's what she had that she didn't eat that I tried to give her. See it? Huh? So I have that. Now another thing again about the menu. Now, I have those menus. So that they have a cart that comes up there with the food. I think I mentioned it. And all the trays are on there. So how are they checking how much she eats if it's all going to go back like that? So I think that would they just fill it in later on her chart and put down what they want? Well, it should be on her chart that she wasn't eating. You know, her food, they chart the food. Unless they filled it in, didn't know she wasn't eating and just put down, you know, the percentages and all that, you know, like she was eating. So this is what I want checked out. You know, make sure, I'm sure that the Attorney General's office knows what to check, but I want to know, because since she wasn't eating, I wanted to know that the check about the food, about her eating, about them staffing there for the weekends and all, and in May of 2019. If the staff in May of 2019 is different than the staff in April of 2019, because there's a connection there with it. You know, that's what I've been coming up with, all these different things. And the fact that they didn't call me, you know, when they should have called me. And that's pretty much it for this case. And I will, and if there's any information needed from the Attorney General's office, I'll be glad to give it. Anything I can do. If there's any questions about anything, now I sent, like I said, some emails the last couple of days. That 3 or 4 emails. Now, if you didn't get emails from me when you listen to this video, let me know. If I don't hear from you, then I know you're getting all this information. Because I want to make sure whatever decision's made, I want to make sure that I furnished all the information I could possibly furnish. And I guess that's about it. I really thank you for your time. I hope I was able to explain it a lot better. Boy, if I would have put this on an email, I don't know how many pages this would have been. For me to type all that, because I know most of those emails I'm sending, there's 6 pages, 8 pages. I don't know about all this, because this covers everything. From the time she went there till, you know, at the end there. I think it's time to cut it off now, and I appreciate everything that you did take my case. And I look forward to hearing from you real soon. You could email me, of course. I guess that's what you'll do. And like I said, and see how far we go with this. But whatever it is, whatever way it goes, I'll be happy that you listened to me and I was able to get all this out of my system. You know, I'm gonna say goodbye for now. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.